Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. So I had this sort of, I get these ideas that come to me during meditation, and the all the like the petty little stuff that goes on now, all the politics, all the bickering, all the division between people. This and the petty is I want to talk about the petty stuff about it. Trump or Kamala Harris or Democrat, Republican, or any number of little divisive issues that people have. If people knew what was coming, if you could go experience one day of a post-apocalyptic situation, when things go south, you would forget about all this stuff that you think is so important. People would not, bother with any of these things on a global basis. Individual stuff, petty little wars, whatever's going on, right? If you could experience the hellscape and the loss of everything that lifestyle, all these things, there would be none of this stuff. There would be none of this trying to one up each other. There'd be no politics, right? You would be just desperate to avoid what's going to come. There's a good side to what's going to come, and that's, people will lose their, gain perspective about what's important in terms of you following your soul's path and all the things I talk about here. Because I'm also talking about petty addictions and, just the waste of time. How much time is just wasted every day. How many opportunities are wasted every day. People, missing opportunities. And, I'm not, this is not me saying, oh my God, I've made it, and like whatever. Like I just, we all are guilty of these things, right? Myself included. It's not, these messages and ideas that come to me aren't, like something that I have, it's myself have mastered. It's just information that I, value myself, right? Take the opportunity that you have, seize the day. Especially now when there's these opportunities for spiritual growth that has been unprecedented, not because we deserve it, because it's like a Hail Mary. It's like, a desperation to, save something, save this, a species. I mean, our species is on the ropes, right? Like we're like an experimental species, and things can go one way or another, and it's all in our hands. It's not God or, the divine system that are the question mark. It's we're the X factor, right? We're our, inability to rise up to higher levels of consciousness, have full potential, but not exercise it, right? Not realize our full potential. There's just a lot of waste of time out there and petty BS, just things that aren't important. If we could realize the things that aren't important, and for most people, it's 99% of their, life or their attention goes to stuff that's not important. That's actually just a distraction. The reason that they get you, like the two candidates and the two parties and the two, whatever it is, all the stuff that they're able to sell you, whatever's being sold to you, whether it be like, some sort of, you know, pharmaceutical or supplements or whatever it might be, or, in terms of, recovering your past glory, testosterone shots for men or something, plastic surgery for women, like all these things that are about saving things that aren't important, things that you see slipping away because of time and age and all these things, right? I was watching, my wife and I watched that show Fallout on Amazon, and it's a masterpiece of a show. And, it's a post-apocalyptic hellscape. That's not really where this is coming from, but it's kind of ties into it. And, the things that are important, the things that you need to know, there's all these, conspiracies and all this stuff that people get obsessed with in the truth community. All the it's all just everything's just a distraction. Like when you have a purpose here, a soul's purpose, and very few people find that. Like I've been talking about that in other videos and things like that recently. You have a situation where, let's say, you're fighting and you're arguing and you're having a bad time. You had a a good relationship with a spouse or sibling or parents or whatever, and then you have these maybe a year or two where you're having like you have a positive relationship that turns into a negative one. This happens, of course, in divorces and things and families or whatever. And then one of the persons tragically dies. And the last thing you said to him was something like horrible, right? And then you're just regretting it because, like, as soon as they die, all the anger and all the negativity dissipates. And then, you're like, oh my God, we let all this petty, bullshit get in between us. And, we didn't have to do that. And so, like, there's just this moments that people have in their lives. And, if you could experience the outcomes or the results first, you would change, at least some people would. Many people would just do the same old bullshit again anyway because they suck, which is probably part of the problem. But if you could experience those things, you would, desperately try to change things, right? But, for our specific problem right now, it's good for people to experience the consequences. Like where people have to, the souls that are going to be left here, because there's going to be massive depopulation, the souls that are going to be left here are going to have some sense of redemption, lamenting their past situation, beseeching God. Let me see if I can find that Whispers message here. So this is one of the Whispers messages. This is sort of one of the fundamental primary ones. That's a prophecy. There's these tens of 20,000, I think, or so of these channeled messages from this French woman. They're mostly from Babaji, the second master of Sage-Mark system. And you may believe it or not. I don't care if you do. But I've experienced these things. I've had, all these spiritual experiences around these messages in the book itself. Not so much the prophecies, although they are very, well, anyway, let me just read this thing. Wednesday, February 28th, 2001, 9 a.m. In a quarter of a century, the Earth will experience a major turbulence. So this is February 28th, the last day of February 2001. So this would be 2026. So we'd have, if this was, again, it seems like it's more of a, it's like in about a quarter of a century. So sometime toward the end of 2025, 2026. In a quarter of the century, the Earth will experience a major turbulence. That will be the beginning of a cycle where Earthmen will find it very difficult to go through. Fire will literally beat down in certain parts of the world where torrents of rain will pour over others. Cataclysms will follow one another for many long years, keeping men frightened. Many will turn towards a supreme God, beseeching his forgiveness for more and more aberrant behaviors, as well as for the maltreatment imposed on their nourishing mother, the earth. So this is, beseeching God for forgiveness. Like, we fucked up. We realize we have. Can you please forgive us and help us? But, God doesn't punish people. People punish themselves, right? Like God doesn't, God can't just say, "Oh, I'm in a bad mood. I'm going to punish you." The wrathful God that's in the Old Testament. That's all bullshit. God isn't wrathful. Like you fuck up, and there's consequences built into the system. You go away from God. You go away from your soul's path. There are consequences built in, and everybody's doing that to some extent because our system is doing that. We're an ego-driven, demonic system and demonic culture, where people are going away from their higher nature and de-evolving into lesser, technology is taking away even, more and more of our humanness and our ability to, is doing things for us that we should be doing for ourselves, right? And so the more and more that happens, the more and more people lose their way. And so let's get back to it here. And so it says, fire will literally burn down in certain parts of the world where torrents of rain will pour over others. Cataclysms will follow one another for many long years, keeping men frightened. Many will turn to our supreme God, beseeching his forgiveness for more and more aberrant behaviors. Of course, we all know what the aberrant behaviors are, not just on the left, but on the right as well for the maltreatment imposed on their nourishing mother, the earth. The failure to respect the elements will lead us to the effects generating terror among the population of the end of the century. In future ages, the present layout of the continents will be shattered, maps will need revising, yet the creatures inhabiting this planet will have more than enough to do in order to survive rather than dealing with those details. Atom, ATOM, will turn against mankind, who will not have been able to harness it, and its lightning power will be devastating. The time for punishment, he had talked about how nuclear power is demonic. And I explained that, the whole thing about fusion versus fission. The time for punishment for such a conceit will take place as hard as it can, and man, paying for his ancestors' glaring mistakes, will suffer without having any control over this situation. This thing where he says the time for punishment for such a conceit, the conceit of people being conceited and self-absorbed, will take place as hard as it can. So there'll be no reprieve. There'll be no mulligans. There'll be no, okay, you guys, sorry about you've had enough. There'll be no, you had enough. And man paid for his ancestors' glaring mistakes will suffer without having any control over the situation, because this is the outcome of pushing away pain and living unnatural lives. That it builds up, right? The consequences build up, right? There's natural consequences to things, and they build up, and then have to be suffered. Transformation of this planet must go through all these cataclysms in order to be effectively completed, Babaji. I'm going to read all these prophecies, fairly soon. Like that's kind of the major one because of it gives an overview of some of the other things that are talked about. My wife and I were listening to these. I think the person's name is Casey Means. She and her brother, they're like really smart people. She was going to be a doctor. They did a good interview with Tucker Carlson, and I know Tucker Carlson's a piece of shit, but he did a really good interview, and he did a second one about Ozempic. Ozempic is going to be forced on American people are going to have to pay for Ozempic for people on Medicare and Medicaid, and they're saying it's going to cost $3 trillion and it's going to bankrupt the American system. And that the Norway, the European country that produces Ozempic, it's a last-ditch effort for people there because it wrecks people's guts and the side effects are horrific and it's not a solution, right? But the American people want to stuff their fat ghoul holes and, indulge in whatever kind of lifestyle and then want a pill to take to, fix it. In this case, a shot in the belly, and they want to give it to kids. They're pushing it for 3 and 6-year-olds. They want kids to be able to be obese and then just get a shot to fix it, but of course it doesn't fix it. It destroys their gut. Oftentimes people have to, just from the stomach issues, they have to go off of it. And then their stomachs are wrecked, wrecks all the flora, the microbes, this stuff, probiotics people take and things to try to fix that, but it can't be fixed. And then your gut is screwed. That's where your serotonin comes from, and people get depressed and things. And they were talking about how the pharmaceutical agencies have combined with the food agencies to put out poison and basically destroy people's systems by eating poisons and microplastics and all these things that aren't food. The Rockefellers pushed John Rockefeller pushed the idea of these seed oils as they were oils that were for mechanical use, and he made them become foods, right? The whole food pyramid that's full of things that aren't food. And, we see the effects of the American population being treated like, then the pharmaceuticals come in and they start fixing various aspects, but never a systemic preventative immune system fix, never get people healthy. And then you just become a slave. You're like an addict to these pharmaceutical companies where your body's breaking down. And, these pharmaceutical companies own YouTube, they own, CNN, they own all these, they're one of some of the biggest lobbying, in terms of politicians. Trump, that piece of shit, Trump, he was listening to RFK Jr. Again, and RFK Jr. is, he's a piece of shit in his own right. About the big, the bloop, right? The thing that he eventually caved on. And then Pfizer gave him $1 million Trump was going to act on it. Trump was actually, Trump, once in a while, he sees something and he realizes that he should do something about it. But then he always gets bought off because he's a selfish prick, right? And so, these pharmaceutical companies, people are addicted to them, and the food industry for eating poisons. And people can't break away from these things, and their bodies are completely unhealthy and toxic. It makes them stupid. It makes them lethargic. It pacifies them. And we're being treated like livestock, right? All these, things. These interviews are worth listening to, and this more about this post-apocalyptic stuff. So part of all this was triggered by this comment here that somebody left. And the person wrote this. Trump is bad, and MK Ultra mind-controlled migrant invasion is worse. This isn't a popularity contest. IDGAF, I don't give a blank, who Trump banged and bought off. I do gal that we have mercenaries. It's not properly written. I don't give a blank that we have mercenaries set up to shop in major cities waiting to be activated when likely not too far off. Pick your poison. You're not picking your poison. Like, this is the person saying pick your poison. There's no picking your poison. What are you talking about? You think this is about picking poison? Why would you pick a poison? Like, your vote has no outcome. I don't care if people vote because it's meaningless. Like, it doesn't bother me whether you vote or not. I'm not saying vote for this person, that person, or don't vote at all, or, make a statement. None of that matters. Like I was saying in the beginning of the video. Pick your poison? Who says that you gotta pick your poison, right? That's what you've come down to, is picking your frickin' poison. And that, Trump is somehow the lesser of two evils. Like, that's not true at all. That's predicated on you believing that these guys are telling you the truth about anything. They are dumbed down their message to dummies, and they say there's no "Make America Great Again." There was a, video someone posted on Twitter, and Twitter recommended it to me this morning, and hopefully I'll find it here. If I don't, it doesn't matter. But Trump shows up, and they're in a factory, and there's no air conditioning. He's hot, and I think he's just worn out and he's old. And that dope from South Dakota, that whatever her name is, Kristi Noem, she killed her dog and glorified it in a book that kind of dropped her out of the vice presidential consideration, but probably it doesn't matter. Like, they're all weird and goofy, and she's with him, and he is in Pennsylvania. He's trying to get them going, and like, he just leaves. He only speaks for 2 minutes, plays some music, and he just leaves because it's hot out. It's hot in there. There's no AC. He's kind of bummed, because he needs comforts. And he says, MAGA can't be stopped to make America great again, because it's, you can't. It's make America great again. You can't stop it. Well, you're not going to make America great again. That's not, like, whatever that means to people. Whatever it means specifically to you or somebody else, or a MAGA person. That's just a fantasy. That's not happening. It didn't happen the first term. You think it's going to happen the second term? Why do you think he's going to do something the second time around that he couldn't do the first? He's going to be a lame duck after 2 years, and they're going to harass the shit out of him. I mean, this is going to be awful, and I think he's going to win. It's going to be an awful type of situation. But, it doesn't matter. Like, none of these things matter. Kamala Harris or him winning, it's just like, window dressing. It means nothing. Like, it's just something you think is important. Like, the presidency is a joke. Like, it doesn't matter. These people are handled, and even the people running the world, the people behind the shadows, the shadow government people, they've lost all control. They've lost control of their AI technology. They've lost control of their economic debt and system. Like, it's all spiraling out of control. They're trying to figure out desperate ways to retain their power after the system collapses. And, the way they've poisoned people and twisted their minds and made them, unnatural. Like, people aren't natural humans anymore. Like, the whole thing is completely fucked. And, like, it's just, nobody has any control now, right? My brother, who does the meditation that I do some years ago, he was with the third master, the system, Master Chargy. or maybe somebody told him this. I'm not sure what. And some American woman came in and said, I just have a problem with God. There's people who have, they have to have their moment. Why does God do this kind of stuff? Blame God, blame God, God, this stuff, right? God, why are you so mean? This kind of bullshit. And she said to him that, I don't understand why God would run the world the way he's running it. And he said, do you think God's running this world? God's not running this world. God gave human beings freedom of choice, and this is what we've made of it, right? This is what freedom of choice is really a trap because there's only one right choice in every situation. There's only one divine choice, and it's easy to figure out. Like on a moment-to-moment basis, a little bit harder, but on the big choices in your life, it's just there. If you actually ask God, people can ask God internally. That's why they want externalized religion. That's why people buy into these bullshit religions, because a religion allows them the freedom to sin, right? Like, we'll cleanse you. You'll just go to confession or whatever. Like you're just a born sinner. It's not your fault. Like this bullshit, right? Just excuses for, you knowingly doing the wrong thing. Like pretty much everyone knows they're doing the wrong thing, but the right choice is often the choice you don't want to make. It's often moderation and restraint and not doing what not eating the foods that are poisonous, not drinking the alcohol, not doing indulging in the behaviors that are not are not what you're supposed to be doing. Finding your soul and living a disciplined life and a conscious life and things. People don't want to do that shit, so they buy into these other things that give them an out and give them an excuse. And then people, the freedom of choice runs amok because it's people making the wrong choices. And then all this power in these games and this bullshit that happens is easy to implement because everybody's going the wrong direction. And everybody goes along with it, right? People can be good. People can be, righteous. People can, do the right thing, be service-oriented and participate. But, we all flirt with that from time to time, but we don't choose it overall. And so when you go in the wrong direction collectively and there's wrong living, there's consequences. And no piece of shit Trump or no piece of shit Kamala Harris or no pick your poison or no any kind of crap like that's going to make a difference. There's consequences for what we've done for everybody. There's some Whispers message. I haven't been able to find it, but he said the guilty are going to be punished. The innocent will be punished along with the guilty. And that's what's going to happen because that's what has to happen. This is a collective. All the, animals, all the trees, all the, there's going to be a reworking of the system, and there's going to be, a time of, it's been a very calm time. It's been a time of abundance, right? There was a world when human beings gained the ability to technologically advanced capabilities and travel, being able to build ships and travel to different places and eventually planes and things like this. And we're able to do global expansion. And we were having all these technologies to, like big machinery and all the things that we've done to rip nature apart and build these shopping malls and whatever bullshit that we've done. We had this a time, for the last so many thousands of years where there's some earthquakes, but there's no ice ages. There's no, major calamities. There's no tectonic plates smashing against each other and, complete collapse of civilization, no giant floods. The end of the ice age happens and, the polar ice caps melt and all this land goes underwater, right? There was none of that bullshit, right? None of these, smaller ice ages and whatever it is. And people experience these things. I mean, some small civilizations, but not on a global basis. And not the kind of thing that we're about to face. There's times where the earth goes through tumultuous things. And we're about to enter into that period. And some of that period coincides with, and some of it's self-inflicted, and the nuclear power and the use of atomic bombs nuclear bombs is going to be a part of it. And so, that's just the way it is. That's what we have to live through. We're here at this time, and that's what this time is going to be about. Where we had all these comforts, we had all these things. We used them, overused them. We didn't, we lost sight of our true path and who we are and what we were supposed to do. And now we're going to suffer for it, right? On a material level. But there's always spiritual. Whenever there's suffering, there's always spiritual spiritual opportunities. And people who take it like that, who, look at it like that, will be the ones that are, left to pick up the pieces, and, they'll be the ones that have huge leaps in their spiritual evolution, and the other people will be just left behind. Their souls won't be invited back. They won't have any place to go, and they'll just wander whatever the dark realms of the etheric universe until they get an opportunity to, redeem themselves somewhere else. Anyway, let's get into the other stuff here. All right, I just want to add a little bit to my original voiceover here. So I was talking about this in my Journey series quite a bit, but not so much in my regular videos, a little bit. That you have a your soul's consciousness and your ego's consciousness. And they often don't align, right? Not that the ego is necessarily evil, but your soul is your true essence. I talked about this recently about a hijacked, how if you were playing a video game and the avatar hijacked your consciousness, and you would just sit there and watch your avatar, your ego run your lives, right? And so if there is a soul, and we already know there's an ego, we have something that's constructed as a personality and an ego. So if there is such a thing as a soul, which many of us believe in, we have to know that our soul is not a good our ego is not a good reflection of our soul. These are two separate things. Like our ego and our soul have two different orientations, right? And the soul is aligned with whatever God wants you to do, and your ego is aligned with whatever it wants to do, right? And so if we have a higher nature and a lower nature, then there must be some sort of a conflict resolution between them. If your ego is not doing what your soul wants it to do, then there's a process, right? You want to say they're battling, but your soul doesn't battle. Your soul doesn't have, those type of capabilities, aggressiveness and things like this. But there is, some sense of the soul and the ego having to work things out. Because without a soul, your ego doesn't exist, right? Your ego has all the power of decision-making power. It can choose to do what it wants. But those consequences start mounting up, the consequences for doing egotistical things, right? And so this idea that people are working it out between their higher nature and their lower nature is the essence of what life's about, right? You have a higher nature, which, often your higher nature is not pleasing to your ego. It's not sexy, right? It's not, it's not desirable. Your ego is impulsive, right? Your ego is, I just lost the top of my microphone here. It's all set. Your ego is a slave to its whims and its impulses and impulse control and the multitude of wrong choices, right? And so there's a, sort of a war being waged. Again, your soul doesn't have the capabilities to wage any sort of a, violent, power hungry. I mean, your soul can only just, love in a sense, or just use, I don't know if wisdom is the right word, whatever, its higher nature, to finally get your ego to see that, when you do these things, it always hurts you. That your choices as an ego come back to hurt you. That there is some sort of a, what people refer to as karma or, consequences or whatever it is. That it isn't like you can just do things without getting some sort of, some rebound to your bad choices, some consequences to your choices. We see it all the time, right? We see there's consequences, even in a dysfunctional material system, consequences that happen. Like if you eat crappy, toxic foods, you get cancer or heart disease, or, there's things that happen, right? Like you just can't do whatever you want without some like retaliation or with some, retribution, something like some kind of a rebound. You use force and then there's the opposite force comes back at you. And at some point you kind of realize that your bad choices are like, there are consequences for them. And, you don't feel good about them. Like you start feeling lonely and separated. That's the other thing. You feel lost without your soul. Because your soul is your true essence. You feel lonely in the world. You feel whatever it is, like depressed, and you get all these things that happen to you. But even with all the fucking consequences that people are suffering, they still just won't do it. Like I've, seen this in the Sagemark system, where members of the system will be brought to higher levels of consciousness. We would go to these spiritual gatherings. We would have these meditations, all different kinds of things like that. That there's some sort of, we'd have these moments where we'd penetrate to higher levels of consciousness. And we got to those levels, you didn't want to come back down. Like I didn't want to come back and, just be a part of my mundane life. When you really have some spiritual experiences, you get to a state where you don't want to leave. Like you don't want to leave this higher level state, but somehow you have to go out and you have to live your life, and you eventually return to your, your original state of consciousness. And, even with those experiences, people would quit. People would stop doing a system that, revealed to them their higher nature, right? And the struggle between their higher nature and their lower nature. Like there was a consciousness of it that other people just don't get to experience because of the levels of consciousness of higher, states of being, where you are resonating on like a more subtle vibrational level. Where, I used to give this example of the movie and the book Flowers for Algernon. There's a mentally handicapped guy and a mouse, and they were given these same drugs. And the mouse and the man became geniuses. It helped them become geniuses, right? And then the mouse dies. The mouse is named Algernon. Spoiler alert. It's kind of an interesting movie. And the man realizes he's got so much limited time before he either dies or he returns to his lower state. So all of a sudden he's brilliant. He goes from being brilliant to being, back to being a mentally handicapped person, right? And you see this with everybody. You can penetrate to higher levels of intelligence and thought just by the foods you eat. When you start taking a lot of, drinking alcohol and using drugs and toxic foods, you recognize and start realizing that you're getting stupider and you're making worse decisions, and you're inebriated in your consciousness. Like people can understand the difference between sober and being drunk, right? And when you're around drunken people, I remember when I was in college, I stopped drinking and using any kind of substances, and I'd go to bars, and you were like a rocket scientist, right? Like it just sucks dealing with drunk people. Like being around drunk people when you're sober sucks. Like bartenders and people who work with drunk people. Because you just watch them deteriorate, and you can see it in their face expression. They're impaired. Alcohol and these drugs impair certain functions in your ability, like to self-perceive, and some of these other things. And you can see the levels of consciousness, right? And so when you rise up to higher levels of consciousness, you would think that people would embrace that. But I can tell you from the members of the Sagemark system that were able to probably be brought up to these higher levels. Of course, now with the dodgy debacle of the Heartfulness organization, the meditation that I do, the new version of that's a corrupt cult-like organization, right? And then just even before that, people would rise up to these higher levels and they just can't maintain it. And I myself experienced this. Like there's just a desire to tend to the lower. And I don't know what it is about human beings, but this has been a problem, that human beings will just always strive and go back to the lower. And that just sucks, right? And so unless that changes, we're a doomed species, because if you have higher potential and you never embrace it, then you have to be eradicated. You're erased, right? It's like there's nothing worse than not rising up to your higher level. Like there's nothing worse than underachieving. When you have a higher nature, but you refuse to acknowledge it. And that's, humanity right now. Unless that changes, we're doomed. Anyways, let's get into the other stuff here. Okay, so let's start with this here. Northern lights may be visible Thursday night as far south as Alabama and northern California. The geometric storm is the most severe since the one that led to the dramatic auroras in May. And so In the I read a Whispers of the Brighter World today about these prophecies, and after I'm done with this right here, I'll read another one that talks about when the poles reverse themselves. So before I read that, I watched something on some scientific show maybe 20 years ago. It was quite some time. It was right around the time I read these Whispers messages. They came out in 2005. And they were recorded, 2001, 2000. And this show was about how there is the poles reverse themselves. Let me switch over to a voiceover here. And this show said that every so many 200,000 years, the poles reverse themselves. And it had been like 220,000 years. They were able to study the layers in the glacial ice. And they figured when this happened that north would become south and south would become north. And so the magnetic poles of the earth would flip. And then I read this Matt Stein, this guy, he was an MIT professor, and he had a book or something called 1,000 or 100 Chernobyls. And what he proposed was that, if the magnetic poles reverse themselves or there was an EMP or something like that, what happens when when magnetic poles reverse themselves, the magnetic field keeps solar flares from hitting the Earth. And there had been times in the past when solar flares had hit the Earth and it had wiped out huge sections of the electric grid and just fried everything. And these were smaller solar flares, and it happened in small areas on the planet. But if a large solar flare was able to get through the magnetic field and hit the Earth, then it would act as an EMP, like you see in the EMPs in the Matrix movies that short everything out, right? And it's something that I've prepared for because it would render all computer chips fry, all computer chips, cars would break down the road, things like this, right? We've seen this in various post-apocalyptic movies. The Book of Eli talked about something like this, the movie. That movie recently, whatever it was called on Netflix, that was from some being hacked, but where the cars are broken down and in the middle of the road, all these cars just are there, so you can't use the roads anymore, right? Immediate collapse of our electrical grid, and so with it like anything else, I'm like, sure, all right, maybe that's true. Like I don't plug into anything, but I said there was what they said in the original thing that I saw. The way that you could tell that the poles were about to reverse themselves was that there's fluctuation in the magnetic field, and so the aurora borealis would start to be seen in the south. The northern lights would be seen all over the world because the poles were like, they didn't just switch all at once. They start fluctuating, and who knows what that, the switching of poles, where all of a sudden all the compasses in the world flip, where your compasses will start pointing south, right? Like there's an inversion of these type of things where the fields, the magnetic poles, every magnet the poles will switch on planet Earth, right? It's changing the magnetic field. And so where you have these two polar opposites on your magnets, right? You put two of the same, the ones that attract each other, the opposite sides of a magnet, and you see the magnets will stick to each other. But if you push the ones that are similar, they repel each other, whatever it is, right? You've tried that with magnets. If you ever put two magnets together, then turn them around and try to do it, and the magnets there's a force that'll push them each away from it, right? And so the way to tell this is when we start seeing the aurora borealis, which we've been seeing now for the past 2 years. And they're saying it's because of storms, because they're lying to you, because they know what it's about. They know that the magnetic field is weakening, and it isn't just solar flares that could cause problems, because they don't know what it's going to do.
And maybe they do know what it's going to do. Wipe out computers, wipe out the electrical grid. I mean, it could change. Imagine you're in a plane and you have a navigation system, and the poles reverse themselves, and the pilots and everything goes haywire, or your computer crashes. I mean, who knows what the fuck this is going to do, right? But this was something that was predicted years and years ago. Here is the Whispers of the Brighter World's messages. So the first message I read was from Wednesday, February 28th, 2001, 9 a.m. This is from Sunday, February 25th, 2001, 6 p.m. And so this is the Babaji, who is the second master of the Sajmark system, used to intercommune with this French woman. She didn't speak any English. They had to translate these messages. It's a whole kind of thing. But he says, "My dear daughter, we would like now to start giving you messages have a totally different content. Scientists are very often mistaken in their assertions. In a century, these assertions will be outdated. Man will have taken a step forward in his understanding of the laws of governing the universe. They will then become obvious. They will then become obvious to a great number of minds capable of understanding their real meaning. Significant changes will take place on the Earth globe after great upheavals. Earth globe after great upheavals have occurred. Even the best established structures will be disrupted, and the elements will make life difficult for human beings who will have to face up to things." Face up to things is a very Babaji way of talking. He used to say this, in his life. You're going to have to face up to things. Another race stronger and having a much more developed sense of extrasensory perception will set up a world that would astonish most men living in the present. When the poles are reversed, they will generate climatic changes. Men will need to adjust themselves. A large part of the population in its present proportions will have disappeared. The Earth will start a new era, best suited to its evolution. We will further elaborate on some of the mentioned topics, and you will have to note down without wondering too much, even though you cannot verify the soundness of what you are writing. She didn't like these messages. They freaked her out, and of course she's dead now, 2018. It says here, "These predictions should neither worry nor embarrass you. They do not relate to the present day, and a long time will have passed before all the assertions come true. You will need to trust us and leave your usual doubts aside. These writings will long remain in oblivion before they could be made public. Therefore, if it suits you to consider them as fiction, we have no objection to that. Don't worry, you are not under an influence of a devious spirit. We will resume the normal course of our talks. Be at peace, be blessed, Babaji." Yeah, like I said, she was very unhappy with these messages because she was a person with great physical pain who couldn't leave her house. She had a horse accident. She was riding a horse. She came from wealth in France. She was a daughter of a rich family, and she was riding a horse, and she fell off the horse and injured her back. And a doctor, as she described as a butcher, screwed up her back, and she was in extraordinary pain for the rest of her life. But she became this great medium and delivered thousands of these messages. And often she doubted the validity of the messages. And, Babaji was constantly having to remind her. When they first started to intercommune with her, she didn't believe it was happening. She thought she was going crazy. And a woman comes and knocks on her door and says, "Babaji sent me a message, and he said to me, he told me to tell you the messages are real." Like some random woman, just some stranger knocks on the door and says that and then leaves. And so, these are things that you can believe or not. But for me, I have faith in them for a variety of reasons. This idea of my consciousness going to a higher level. There's a time I was going through something, I was fasting, and I was going through like a difficult time, and I got sick. And I was reading these messages, and I just penetrated to a higher level. These writings that I had read before. And I can't really describe it, but it was like I was like on a totally different level, and I understood these messages on a totally different level. But then I had to start to eat again, and I got better, and I went back to normal, and I couldn't reach that level. But anyways, for me, I believe in them, and there's some scientific evidence, and we're going to see because it's getting close now, right? The polls are close to reversing themselves. All right, let's move on with the rest of the stuff here. Okay, so here's Donald J. Trump and Kristi Noem. And this becomes a very weird town hall for Trump. I don't know if it was people were getting sick and he was worried about getting sick. He's starting to look really old, like the campaign is starting to wear on him, which it does. He's going to be the oldest president if he wins. And, of course, Biden was the oldest president. They were the two oldest people to run for president last time. And so 4 years have passed, and they've been, regardless of whatever he's in on or he's not in on, it's been, a difficult 4 years for him. And the bitterness is there. He's not the same guy. He's not as positive, not as happy, right? And so let's just watch this here.
Thank you, bro. This is a nice crowd.
USA.
Yes, they love you.
They don't love you. This is not love. Nobody should mistake this as love. Love doesn't come with desperation. I'm going to get into just how silly, and most of you guys see it, but this is specific things you probably never heard before about Make America Great Again. Like it's an impossibility based on what they believe in, what they want.
You know why? It's because they recognize, sir, that you're the one who fights for them. You're the one who protects them.
He does not protect anybody or fight for anybody. He is the epitome of a narcissist, right?
And you know what else? They fight for themselves, and they've been fighting for a long time. And
okay, you're fighting and losing because things are going in the opposite direction. You guys see that, right? Well, show me the fights that you guys have won. Show me the things that you guys have won. Show me the stuff that Trump has won, right? We all see the way everything's going. It's getting worse, not better, which you always talk about. And so they're not fighting for themselves. They'll vote for you. And then you'll go up there and you'll crap the bed like you did last time. You'll shit the bed like you did last time, right?
we're going to make your fight easier. It's very important. We'll make it easier. Because what's happened to our country in the last almost 4 years now, it's hard to believe. But
I thought these people were fighting. You're a fighter.
if you look at the borders, if you look at inflation, you look at the Afghanistan disaster, the most embarrassing time in the history of our country. I think the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, the way they did, not getting out, I was getting out with dignity, strength. The way they got out was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened. Probably led to...
Okay, so let's go to the end of this thing. Here. So they have medical emergencies there, and I guess they were real ones, right? People are dropping like flies here.
Thank you very much. Take your time, doctor.
So this is the doctor thing. Maybe these were real ones, right? So the temperature was off, right? So here's a guy who's going to make America great again, and they'd run these halls regularly. They run these rallies regularly, and they're in a hall, and there's some kind of temperature climate issue, and they do these things where people fake that they're passing out, right? Let's go back a little bit here.
The border is the issue of this election because if we can't secure the border, we won't have a country. We know that you're going to finish the wall, but how are you going to...
We know you are, but what am I? There's only a partial wall. There's nothing there. Remember when he said Mexico was going to pay for it? What happened to that? Mexico was never going to pay for it. He just lied about that. He makes these big claims and he can't back them up, and you allow him to move the goalposts, right? Because you're delusional. This isn't love. This is delusion. It's desperation, right?
going to handle the deportation of criminals?
Yeah, exactly. This is a good question. How are you going to handle it?
So, if you've watched any of our last rallies, we have a Criminal Aliens Act of 1798. That's a long time ago. And that gives the president tremendous power to do what has to be done to secure our country. And you're right, so if you look at the polls, it says that the number one issue is the economy, number two is inflation. Let's even put them together. And number three is the border. I disagree. I think I do agree with you. The number one issue this country has.
Medics, this is people passing out. Like, this is the whole thing that they do. I've shown you this before. Every one of these rallies, somebody's passing out. And there's these things that happen, right? Not every one of them, but I've showed you I've done the montage of this thing. And like, it's very performative. But this one seems to be like it's actually happening here. Because Trump isn't saying anything. He isn't saying, is there a doctor in the house? So this is a real one. Like, they finally had a real one because Trump isn't saying shit here, right? Okay, so someone said, I think it's freezing in here. So maybe they had turned down the AC too much, which makes no sense because you don't pass from it being too cold. But she's acknowledging that there's a climate issue. But I think he later on says it's too hot in here. But why isn't he saying anything? Remember in the other one, he went to where the people were, and he always says, "They're a medic, take your time." But he's not doing, either he's forgot his bit, or this is a real one, and he's not ready for it, right?
Do you want me to go tell them so it's not a microphone?
No,
Yeah. President is wondering.
So he's not doing his performance, right? Make America safe again. Okay, so let me show you the compilation, including Trump, of these people performing these politicians here. So I just happened to be editing and listening and reading my comments. And one of my viewers, this is where the comment's really helpful, says Kamala did she was in Milwaukee, right? So this, I'm editing this thing where she's giving this, this speech from Milwaukee to the DNC. And she's in Trump's, where Trump had his, rally. And they have all the freedom signs, right? These freedom signs they're handing out. These are the words they want to associate with her: freedom, joy, and then she's a protector, and these things, right? These other words. But freedom and joy, some of these other things I've already forgotten. But here it is. She did it. She took the plunge here.
And that is how we fulfill the promise of America. The promise of America.
So this is from Forbes' YouTube channel, and they just have all these glitches all the time. I mean, it makes no sense, but they have them. I don't know why.
And it is that promise of America.
Wait, what?
We need a medical assistant here.
Oh, man, she just saw it. She just happened to see. Well, it's amazing how these politicians, it's like they have spidey sense. These politicians and their spidey sense.
Okay. We need a nurse. We need a medic here, please.
Someone get a medic?
Let's make a path. Let's make a path if y'all don't mind.
Look at her take control. Man, she's good at this.
Path to right here. Let's just create a path to right here.
Forbes has been covering this, right? The Trump did it, and then Walz did it twice, and now Kamala's doing it. While she's, this is a big event, right? This is like while the DNC is going on, and she's going to fly to the DNC. Her husband's giving a speech tonight. I'm editing. It's Thursday. She's going to give the speech tonight. I'm editing. This it's Thursday, but this happened on Tuesday, and then I'm going to cover the stuff that happened on Wednesday today. This video is going to hopefully go up tonight. But this is like a big time for her, and they rolled out this fake shit, right?
Let's create a path, guys, and thanks for looking out each other. Look out for each other, but let's create.
That's what Doug. That's what Walls said, right? The neighbors look out for each other, right?
Out for the Maddox.
Woo!
You okay? Okay. Okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
We're going to be okay. See, I'm handling things. I'm compassionate. See, this is everything gets thrown out the window because Trump did the same stuff. When you pull fake shit like this, right? You no longer have any legitimacy when you do things like that. When you have stage shills in the audience to make you look good, then you're not good, right? You're just performative. You're not a good person. You're scripting something to make yourself look like you're a good person, a good leader. And you guys see in my video, I'll add this to it at the end of it. But you throw out any claims of being legitimate when you do shit like this, right? A completely staged, false, rehearsed thing.
All right.
Woo! Look at her.
Okay. We'll be okay. This is who we are, right? This is what we're about, looking out for each other. The thing.
Yeah, exactly. It just worked out right there, an event right at this rally that shows you who we are. How we labor looking out for neighbor.
We care about each other.
We care about each other, exactly. See how caring I am? Look at how effing caring I am. I'm the most caring person in the world. I'm the most compassionate.
Truly understanding what love thy neighbor means.
Oh, she's bringing in a Bible quote. I've been talking about her.
About in the face of a perfect stranger, seeing a neighbor, understanding what that love of each other means.
Oh, it's just great that something that you're highlighting as part of your Walls campaign thing and all this stuff that you're doing, and you just delivered. Boom, kaboom, kaboom. Bring it, Kamala. I didn't believe before. Now I'm a true believer that you're fake as F. Right? Okay, so Forbes has documented these events with Trump, Kamala Harris, and with Tim Walz. Dramatic moment: Donald Trump checks on rally goer who suffered medical issue during campaign event. Now, they don't call BS. They should. Obviously, it's BS. But they just say this other stuff here. Now, they've documented this twice from Trump. The most recent one was August 21st. Today is August 28th, so 7 days ago. And this was, at a recent rally here.
But the worst is that
So this is the first time where you can audibly hear the audience members calling for a medic, which they've been trained to do, right? This is, they've seen this. Now it's a normal thing for people to pass out at one of these rallies and for them to call medic and for the candidate to make a big deal about it. So there's two new things that Trump does here. This is the first thing.
what's wrong?
Wow, he's so concerned.
Oh. A doctor, please.
So Trump's signature move, Obama asked for water. Trump always asks for a doctor. Is there a doctor? What about a doctor? We got a doctor. Who's a doctor?
It is very hot here. I noticed.
It's the heat. It's so hot out there. I know it's the heat. This person, what if they're having a heart attack? No, it's the heat. It's hot out here. It's so hot. It's hot out here.
It's very hot. And a lot of the people waited for days to get here, so.
They've waited for days. Days, I tells you. They've been out there for days waiting to see me. They love me so much. Me, 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 me. They've been waiting for days.
I understand it. Take your time, doctor.
That's another signature move of his.
Take your time. Thank you.
He just, take your time, doctor. You don't have to rush on my account. Trump, love you. Love you, Trump. Love you, Trump, Trump, Trump. The best, Trump. You're so good. You're so compassionate. When the Democrats do this, it's fake, but when you do it, it's real, Trump.
Yeah. Take your time, please.
Plus, he's got he's got glass here. He's got some bulletproof glass there now because you don't want to have any imaginary bullet stop hit him. Now he's going out. Now, this is a new move. This is Trump's new signature move. Woo! He's going right on the crowd. He's going right out there. And so, like this, we haven't seen this before. Trump has broken new ground in terms of being an actor. He's going right to the woman in question, person. He's going to show his compassion and what a caring person he is. Look at him go. Look at him applaud him. Look at him go. Good way to go, Trump. Go out there. Show him you can take care of people. His video go viral, and everyone think you're a real person. You're real good at it. Look at him. This is classic Trump, right? Like he's just, taking to a good thing the person's in the front row so you could get over to him. It's wonderful that this person had this attack at the front row. We love Trump. We love Trump. Trump we love. Trump's the best. Go hide behind your protective glass for his fake bullets hit you. Look out for the fake bullets. They could be anywhere. There's some over there. There's one over there. Over the place.
Thank you very much. They come 2 days, 3 days early, and it's a lot of stress.
3 days early. It gets more each time, because they love him so much stress out there. They come a month early. They walk through a desert and.
The only ones we don't lose are front row Joes. I don't know what they have going.
These guys aren't even
They have
human.
something going here, Governor.
Like everyone else passes out, but not these. Everyone else is pansies.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Doctor.
Don't do that. Thanks, Doc. Good job on good job.
But America's blessed with the greatest military in the world, but our men...
Okay, so that's Trump.
I didn't. Kamala will not answer for her record of failure and weakness.
She won't do it. She won't do it. This is the previous time, right? So this is...
A doctor, please. Doctor in the house. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a frickin' doctor in the
Thank you.
house?
Take your time.
Take your time, Doc. It's another signature.
Take your time, Doc.
It's not
Thank
like
you
I'm
very
impatient
much.
or anything.
Thank you.
So this is from August 9th, 2024. So he did this before the convention with Kamala, and then this other one that happened right after. And so I guess he did one during the convention, the DNC.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. Woo!
We love these people. They wait for 2 days sometimes, and then it's tough. It's not easy.
Exactly. They walk across the Sahara Desert, and they swim an ocean. They're like triathletes, and then they sit here. They get here a month in advance because they just love me so much. They can't miss me. They would never. They would never just like not be able to come see me. This is Trump's signature aspect of it, like I said, because he needs to be loved, right? So him saying, "Oh, these people are waiting days in the, like it's like they're waiting for the new iPhone to be released or whatever." Remember that like lines people formed. They're in line for days trying to get into the rally because they're turning away people. It's a full house and they're turning away people. So Trump loves to be loved, loves to be wanted, loves to be, all these things. This cult-like thing that he has. So that's his signature move, right? Asking for a doctor because that's what a rich guy does. Like he doesn't offer water. Trump's not going to serve anybody. He's not going to hand waters out like Obama.
Are they okay? Thank you very much.
Who's
Doctor,
they? Is it more than one? What's happening?
Take
out
your
there?
time. Good. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you.
Take your time, doctor. I'm not impatient. Like no one thinks I'm an impatient guy. Like no one's ever called me impatient before. So this is Tim Walsh.
Freedom. Oh, can we get somebody to help?
Somebody?
Hot.
They're hot over there.
Somebody's hot. Can we get
Somebody's hot. I can just tell they're hot over there. They must be hot. Therefore, they need help because they're hot.
somebody to help? You okay?
You're right over there.
Drink some water, folks. It is hot out.
Yeah, water. That's
Somebody else.
This is usually the Obama way. Obama was always big on the water.
Thank you.
Governor. Look at him. Look how concerned he is.
Water?
Look at the guy. Look at his face. He's so concerned. They're so weird. They're so weird.
You okay?
Are they okay? What's going on? They're okay? What's going on? What's happening here? What's happening? So this is August 7th, 2 days before Trump.
Yeah.
Woo!
Thank you all for helping. Grateful.
Thank you. Woo!
Thank you all. Take care of one another on this. This is why we gather. Look, it's hot. It is hot. I'll come again. They've got folks here. We'll make sure we're okay. But I
Okay, so their signature move, Kamala did the same thing, was to ask if the neighbors, talk about neighbors, how we're good neighbors, and that we take care of each other and everyone belongs and we really just love each other, and the Republicans are trying to deny us, but we're just really good neighbors.
I have to tell you all again, in all seriousness, to come and gather like this, to talk about our freedoms, the ability to talk about what could be good. And I have to say, this idea of caring for our neighbor and kindness and a hand up when somebody needs it, or just the sense of that people go through things and to be able to be there when they need it, that's who we are. It's not about mocking. It's not name callings.
What do you mean? They were just calling you weird. They're just chanting weird because you have been calling the Republicans weird over and over again, right? Like they tried to push this neighborhood thing, and we're all just good neighbors. And this is Coach Walls, and he's a good neighbor, and he'll get out and he'll push you out of a snowbank. But he was, he's the guy that's been calling him weird, right? There was this compilation. I showed you this. They mocked this phone call between Walsh and Kamala Harris. It's really well done, and they do a compilation of his weird sayings here.
To accuse Trump and J.D. Vance of being weird. Just say it over and over again.
Weird, 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 weird. And then they start being weird. They're weird, 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 weird. Donald Trump's weirdness. Very weird, weird. It's just too weird. It's weird, weird. Okay, so how far left are we at?
You see it amongst them.
Look how concerned he is. Look at him. Look how concerned he is. Then watch him applaud. Yay.
Yay.
Look at his weird applause. Like he just doesn't even know how to clap. What a strange MNFer, right? So this is the same day, but in Michigan. So he had two people pass out, one in Michigan, one in Wisconsin.
Thank you.
That one has the thing, when we vote, we win.
A big thank you to Adam. I think we can all agree our future's pretty bright. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. So it used to be when we fight, we win, but now it's when we vote, we win, right?
And hello, Michigan.
So he's so weird. He's a strange guy. For a guy who's calling other people weird, his idiosyncratic behaviors.
We Minnesotans, you probably know him this. We're a stoic.
We're stoic people. We're stoic over there. We're pretty stoic in Minnesota. We're known as being stoic people. And so, I mean, this is a strange one, but they do it at the beginning, right? Someone else gave a talk, and so they don't have to.
People, a few words.
They put their shills
holy
to
hell,
the
can you
audience
throw a party
early.
here in
They get them going
Michigan?
early.
Wow. I want to take a moment to acknowledge a few friends, folks that I've gotten to know. And let's be very clear. This is someone who I consider my dearest friend. and someone who taught all the other governors how to fix the damn roads.
Is it Whitmer? Governor Whitmer. It's Whitmer. Governor Whitmer. Whitmer's great.
You have got a treasure in Michigan.
Yeah, you do.
And I'll tell you what, we share a lot between us in the upper Midwest.
Here it is. Here it is. What?
Oh, we need some water. We have somebody down.
Is it
We
water?
need some water.
Is it water over there? So who's got water?
Medic. We need a medic.
Is there a medic?
Right here. You got somebody here? Got him? All right, we got a medic on the way.
Medic. They need a medic.
Thank you for caring for your neighbors. Thank you for showing what Michigan does.
Okay, so again with the neighbors thing, their pitch. So they did that in the same day. That was like the same day. Anyways, here's the full compilation. This is, what happened before with Trump and with Biden and all the rest of them here, Obama. So let's show you that here. Okay, so I decided to re-put together my original compilation because it'll be better quality. I have better equipment. It'll just be better. But this is a compilation of this political stunt, and you can see it's a stunt because it's done over and over again. At the end, I'll explain how and why it happened. But this is the compilation. Let's start here with Obama. He did it a lot, and he sort of perfected it.
I'm sorry, what's going on? Somebody's not feeling good? All right. Why don't we have, we can get our doctors back there to help out. Somebody want to go to my doctor's office and just have them? All right. Where was I? Can somebody help out, please, and get Doc Jackson in here? Somebody grabbing our doctor? Of course. In the meantime, just give her a little room.
So there's a command of the room, right? There's being compassionate.
You guys know where the doctor's office is? Just go through the palm doors. It's right next to the map room. There he is. All right, there's Doc Jackson. He's all right.
But this is a more famous one. There was a young woman behind him who's pregnant, no less.
That one illness. There you go. You okay? I'm right here. I got you.
He saves her.
No, you're okay. This happens when I talk too long.
Makes a joke.
Why don't you go? You got it? Come on.
Woo, you're such a great guy. Woo. Woo. What a leader.
Good catch, by the way.
Good catch, he says. Want to let you know, the woman, you heard the applause, she's okay. Her name
She's
is
okay. Obama saved her. She's okay. Bill Clinton started this.
The banks have $1.8 trillion in cash. We got plenty of money to put this country to work. We need a doctor here. This lady fainted in the heat.
It's diagnosing her, taking control.
Let's give her some water. It's hot out here.
Water. That's a big thing. Water's a big thing, they say.
Is there a doctor here? All right, we got a doctor. There's nothing the rest of you can do, so pay attention to me. You'll just get in the way. She'll be fine. Believe me, at my age,
She didn't have a cardiac arrest or just, anything like that. She'll be fine.
Rarely does a lady faint on me.
Trump got into the action several times.
Is there a doctor in the house, please? Doctor?
Is there a doctor anywhere? Doctor?
Doctor, please. We have plenty of time, right? That's fine. Take your time.
So they start singing Amazing Grace. Look at him him. Look at this dork. Look at this fish boy MNFer. Pathetic fish boy.
You don't need, Mr. President, you don't need North Carolina, the 9th District. You got someone, all right. Got someone heated over here. Give them some space.
A doctor in the house, please. Doctor, please.
Look at him take control. Look at that. He's such a compassionate, take control guy.
Doctor in the house, thank you.
Is there a doctor? Doctor in the house? Give him some water.
Hatred in our heart. Could we have a doctor, please? A doctor. A doctor, please. Thank you. A doctor, thank you. Thank you, doctor. Thank you. It is about 100 degrees in here, folks, so.
It's so hot. It's just hot, and people are passing out left and right.
Is about it.
Rick Santorum.
Country before government decided that it had to start taking from those. Sorry, we have someone who's, I think the heat has got to them. So make sure if there's any emergency personnel that can get here, I want to make sure that this person gets some help.
Taking control. Being compassionate.
Hand that down.
Give water. Give a water bottle.
You okay? Just tell us he's okay. Chair, maybe get a chair. Right here.
Give him a chair. Get a water bottle and a chair. They just happen to have a chair and a water bottle there. Go in the audience. Make sure she's okay. This is, yeah, it's not staged at all. This is just, it just happens. Woo! So compassionate, such a good guy.
I am struck by how many young people. There's somebody fainted.
Did somebody faint?
Somebody fainted over there.
Over there, did somebody faint?
Can we get them some water, some help?
Water and some help, a doctor perhaps?
Okay. Get somebody over there. So let me know if you need any. Is there somebody here who can help? We want to make sure that we take care of the lady who fainted.
Woo.
I thought it was the talk of Republicans that might have done it.
Good joke. So there's always a thing, right? There's a joke. It's too hot. Happens. Person's going to be okay. Get him some water. Get him a doctor. So here's 3 more times Obama. And so that's a total of 5 I found right off the bat. There's probably many more out there.
Good to be back in New Hampshire. Oh, so, okay. We'll be all right. They probably were just standing too long. Just give them a little space.
They'll be all right, reassuring you, and then telling you what happened. They're probably just standing too long, so they decided to pass out. You know, I mean, when you're standing forever, eventually you're just going to pass out. That's what happens. Everyone has a certain level of time, and especially if it's hot, you stand and then you pass out.
Where's our EMS folks?
Get the doctor.
They'll be okay. Just give them a little space.
Just give them space. That's space.
This happens sometimes. You guys been here a while after the magging? Well, no, you have to eat ahead of time.
You got to eat. You got to eat some food.
Keep your blood sugar up.
Boom. Keep your blood sugar up.
We got somebody over there? Jordan? Right in the middle. Here we go. Here's our guy.
Boom. He looks a little bit like deer in headlights, like Jojo Magoo.
I'm sorry, what's going on? Somebody's not feeling good?
Does not feel somebody.
All right. Why don't we have? We can get our doctors back there to help out. Somebody want to go to my doctor's office and just
taking control here.
Like somebody might have fainted up here. If we got some of the EMS,
somebody fainted.
Buddy, don't worry about. Folks do this all the time.
They do it all the time. I know. They just didn't die. They just didn't have cardiac arrest. They didn't have a heart attack. They didn't have a stroke. Just it happens. They're going to be fine.
Meetings. I mean, you always got to eat before you stand for a long time. That's a little tip. But they'll be okay. Just make sure that give them a little room.
You know, clear it out. 6 feet of space. Leave them in the middle, laying on the floor. They'll be fine.
All right, everybody all right?
Everybody all right? Let's get going again. I don't want to rush things. We're in no rush. Take our time. Let's make sure everyone knows how compassionate and great I am.
And they're the men's champs. Folks, it's okay. Forget. Want some water?
Want some water? No, you're going to throw it. She's way over here. Just throw the water bottle at her. But then he just sort of loses it. Like he's just lost focus here. Like he's just so clueless. And so, like, maybe he thinks it's a staged event, but he's not sure. He's not in on it. Because usually he would offer water, and you're supposed to take command of the room. And Jojo Magoo just sucks so much worse than all the rest of them, right? Just shows you how incompetent. Like, he can't even pull this staged, this posing, these posers. He can't even pull this off. So this happened probably organically at an event. And then they saw it hit. It was a big hit. It made the person look like they were in control. Oftentimes it was when they were talking about healthcare. If you see the full speeches, healthcare was involved. There's probably I've seen probably 10 or more of Obama doing it. You see Trump's done at least 3 times, probably more. There's a couple more with Hillary. And the first person I know who did it was Clinton. But there's other politicians. I'm forgetting them. I think, there's just been all these different, it's a thing they do. And it shows the person being compassionate. It shows them being competent, right? And just looking at the bigger picture, humanizing them, taking control, right? You hear the people applauding. The Obama one where the woman fainted right behind him, and he turned around to catch her, like that was the creme de la creme. But it's just political theater, and it's just so bad, right? It shows you just how fake it is. And you can say, well, Trump, they're all fake except for Trump's, right? And these are, people who are willing to pose and act. These are posers and actors, right? This is just posturing and posing. And it's something they do to fool you, the audience member, into believing something about them that isn't true. That they care about you, and they don't, right? It's just a bunch of posers. So there's a procedure that goes with this, right? So they're just playing music. We'll turn this down. They're just playing music. Instead, Trump, someone just collapsed over here. There's Trump getting up finally. But, he didn't take control like you're supposed to. So either he's going senile himself and he forgot that this is a bit. But this is like people are really concerned. Whereas, usually this takes about 10 minutes. So I think it's too hot in there. He just said to open the door. And this is not a good rally. Like, he can't even run a rally. He's talking about making America great again. Like, there's people passing out. They don't have an air-conditioned building.
Take your time, Doctor.
Take your time. Now he's starting to do a little bit of his bit. Look at him. But still not doing what he needs to do here. People are complaining about the climate in there.
It's going to be good.
People are shouting in. People are complaining about the temperature as the town hall, where now appears to be a second medical emergency is happening. Trump appeared to have directed know him to tell staff to open the doors. So this person's putting this thing in there, right? From the news that's covering this, they're playing this goofy music.
Open the doors. I wish we could open those doors to outside.
We can't. So you can't even make that call. You're going to make America great again. You're going to fix America. You can't get to them and open the doors. You know, there needs to be fans or something. So this is the second one. Let me find the first one here. So here comes the first one here.
One of his policies. Did you hear her on The View? Did you hear her say she wouldn't change a thing from what Joe Biden has done?
Ooh.
It's cost the average American family $4,500 just in energy costs. Just in energy costs.
Okay. Hold it,
Oh, we have
please.
some-
A doctor, please. Doctor.
So he's doing this whole bit. Now maybe he doesn't know that this, but the second time he doesn't do this, right?
Thank you very much. We have incredible people. They come here hours before, and it's a little hot, and so they're with us all the way. We got to respect them, and you take your time, doctor. Take your time. Thank you very much. We always have great doctors in the audience. We've never had too much of a problem.
We got doctors. A doctor just Johnny on the spot. So this one looks maybe like it's fake because he's going through the rhetoric. The second time he doesn't do it, right? And it's legitimately hot in there. Like there's problems where the people are, feeling the heat, like where you're overheating. You're having whatever it is, hypothermia, whatever it is they call it when you overheat. Like that can really happen, if you're in a place that's too hot.
Look at the quality of care we have. It's incredible when you think, right?
So he's trying to say what a great job they're doing. He's trying to say what a great job they're doing, but they end up failing here. He has to stop the thing. He's like, I wish we could get the doors open. Why can't we get the doors open? I don't know. Somebody open the doors. Somebody with some power, open those doors. Give me permission to open those doors.
First responders. Our first responders are amazing, the way they can do things so beautifully and quickly.
Yeah, so this is, again, trying to make it like he's in control, and he's got control. But he's going to lose control because there's a second event that happens. So this was either planned or not, because it is hot in there. And he has this stick that they do, and they have a doctor there, whatever, so that looks like planned. But then second thing, and then it's really hot. So it's something that the second time he doesn't even say any of this stuff, right? Because he's already said it here. So having a second one is never good because, then it's like an epidemic, like people are dropping like flies, right?
Thank you. We'll get it taken care of fast. A lot of it's pretty easy to take care of.
What is it? What do you mean?
The hardest thing is going to be the border, though, in terms of the people that have been...
And so then he goes back to it, and then, whatever, the person gets up and goes. So it looks like this one was faked, and the second one wasn't. Okay, so he's completely baffled here, right? Like he doesn't know what to do. Again, he showed all the concern he could the first time, which is like, please take your time, doctor.
Yeah, take your time, doctor.
Take your time, doctor. That's his big line. Like he's showed all the concern he can. He's just walking around like a big walrus. So he's saying that those doors don't go to the outside. Trump wants the doors on the left. He says he's going to open the other doors. But he goes, those doors don't go to the outside. I believe this is the fourth assassination attempt. They're trying to kill Trump with heat. Someone sabotaged the air conditioning.
For security reasons, they can't. But you know what? I said just open them. Because anybody comes through those doors, you know what's going to happen to them.
Woo! Okay, so if somebody came through armed with grenades and automatic or semi-automatic weapon, when all the other people in here, I presume, have been checked for weapons, no one's armed, they're going to part like the Red Sea and give them an open shot. They don't love you like that, bro. And so you think, what they're going to tear them to pieces? Anybody comes through that door, we're gonna. No, come on. And this is just getting silly.
It looks like, sir, she's on her feet and walking out. Let's encourage her.
Thank you.
Woo, she can walk. Woo.
Let her know
Thank
we'll be
you.
praying for her.
Woo, pray for you. Woo.
And I know it's really warm in here. Everybody
No, it's hot. People are passing out, and like there's real discomfort.
agrees that it's really warm in here. We've got a lot of people who love America. I'm going to ask that if you have a chair, maybe
A lot of people love America, and we're all so hot when we love America that we throw off this heat.
sit so everyone around you can sit and still see the president and ask him questions. Maybe that will help us.
And we can spend a little more time.
Yes.
And personally, I enjoy this. We lose weight. You know? No, you lose weight. We could do this.
Yeah, so you guys are all having a sauna together. Why don't you do this at all your rallies then? All these fat Trump supporters, overweight Trump supporters.
Just lose 4 or 5 pounds. It's okay with
Wait,
me.
if you lose 4 or 5 pounds in this sitting, then it's like it's behind the sauna. Like
Kamala Harris is.
But some people have been waiting here for 2 days for this, so you know it's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough, but they're going to try and get those doors open.
Yes.
And I don't know whose building this is, but if they had air conditioning, do you see any air conditioning?
you mean you booked this is in Pennsylvania, and so this is your campaign. Booked this building. Now it's a little bit hot. I think they're saying it's there was 88 degrees in Wisconsin. There was something like a bulletin here. So it's hot, like it's abnormally hot for October. But they booked a building where there's so many people in there and there's not proper airflow. It's just not a good idea. Like he can't even manage this. How the fuck are you going to make America great again, right? Like his campaign even can't manage this. It's a failure.
They probably can't afford it, sir, in this economy.
They're paying them for this venue. And so you see your campaign can't afford this because it's on you. This isn't. We think you guys just showed up at some building randomly. Your campaign didn't have anything to do with this.
That's right. They don't want to give us air conditioning. It's too expensive. It costs too much. Anyway.
They're not giving it to you. Is that the deal you negotiated? Yeah, we'll take the building, no air conditioning. Everyone could sweat off about 5 pounds.
Okay. Yes. They're both in good shape.
That's wonderful.
Would anybody else like to faint? Please raise your hand.
Let's do it now.
Please raise your hand. You know what we could do, though? If my guys can do it, how about we'll do a little music. Let's make this a musical fest. Oh, looky. Oh. That's
Looky. Let's make this a musical fest. Let's change this to a musical fest because there's nothing that cools a room down like people doing the frickin' jitterbug, whatever Trump's dance is.
great. That's great. Because it's nice and cool outside, right?
Yes.
It's nice and cool. Why don't we do, and I mean this, if my guys can hear me, 2 things. Put up the chart, my favorite chart. My all-time favorite chart. And let's listen to Pavarotti sing Ave Maria. Can you hear that? They gave me the
Nobody wants to. They didn't come for Pavarotti.
Ave Maria with no voice. There it is. That's my favorite
That's
piece
chart.
of paper anywhere in the world. I sleep with it every night. I kiss it. And you see
Oh my God! This is the chart that's supposed to save his life, and I mean, just icky. Like, how icky did he get?
those numbers, by the way, for those that we talked about, the border, when you're talking about the border, look at the numbers. That was the lowest it ever was right there. That was the last day I was in office. And we're going to get it lower than that. But we're going to let people come in. So very, very important. But there's one of my most favorite. If I didn't turn to the right, I wouldn't be here with you right now.
Yeah, bullshit.
So it's a sort of a cruel world.
Sort of a cruel world.
I was very proud of that before the fact. Now, even if it had lousy numbers, I would love that piece of paper a lot. So put on Pavarotti singing Ave Maria. Nice and loud. Turn it up louder. We want a little action here. Turn it up loud.
Well, actually, how's this helping? Your solution to people passing out from the heat, and it's cold outside, like it's cool outside, but you have this, whatever's going on here, and there's no air conditioning. There's too many people in the building, and they're people who love the country, so they're, radiating this this heat in there, and you're going to turn on fucking Pavarotti, and that's not why the people came. How is that going to cool people down? Holy shit. You know, the opera just sucks. Like, I just can't stand it. And, you know, I mean, I'm no whatever. I'm not a sophisticated person this way. I'm not sure why people like it, but it's just, it's part of a generation gone by. But the people who, you know, this is for, the people who listen to opera are rich people. And many of them are pretentious, liberal type people who are, you know, they're whatever they are. You know, they're Kamala Harris supporters, city people. Like, how many operas do they have in the, like, country areas? It's always in cities, right? And it's because he's from New York, and he's not like his fans. These people in the audience aren't opera fans, right? Look at him go. Do your dance. Like, what's the opera situation like in South Dakota, Kristi Noem? Like, what the fuck is he doing here, right? It's not a real solution. He's making this better, the world the better. He's making the hall better again by playing opera. Who you pointed out?
For your boy. That's for your boy. That's for your boy. Stand up.
That's for your boy. So he's indicating back here that he's doing a fist pump, that he's playing this song for somebody's boy. We'll go back and find out. I think it's this guy who was talking earlier. Let's go find out about where that is. So, holy shit, this guy's son, listen.
Great.
Are here. Where are they?
Where are they?
Oh, here they are, sir. They're behind us over here to the left.
Come on up here. Come on.
They lost their son, Michael.
Come on up.
So this guy right here, right? So this is, all right, this guy, his son's a gold star, you know, whatever, got a gold star.
It's a little harder to get up since I got shot. They've made it more difficult. Perhaps that's the way it's supposed to be.
Sir, they lost their son, Michael.
You didn't get shot, bro. You got, like, it didn't happen, but the official story is you got nicked by barely, you got flicked. Like when you flick your friend's ear, like you know, someone flick your ear or something like that, right? Like take your middle finger and, like, you know, smack your ear, like flick you, right? It's like you got grazed. I mean, that's the official story. It didn't even happen, but the official story isn't that you didn't get shot.
President Trump, great to see you again, baby. 1760 is the gold shot. That's beautiful. Under Obama, all 30 guys died.
Did you want to say anything?
Under Obama is right. Under Obama.
Under Obama.
Please, on behalf of your son.
I would ask, Mr. President, my son was killed August 6, 2011 with 29 other men. It was the biggest loss of life in the Iraq and Afghan war. It was the biggest loss of life in a single day in the history of America. 22 of them men were Navy Special Warfare. Till to this day, we still haven't gotten any answers. I was wondering...
What do you mean, even when he was president for 4 years? You want answers, but he was already president for 4 years. You didn't get him then, right? Why do you think you're going to get him now?
Begging you. We would like a congressional hearing.
So here's what we're going to do. In the first week, let me have it, not the first day, because I made a lot of promises in the first day. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to close up the border. We're going to do a lot in the first day. In the first week, we will set up a commission. We're going to find out, because so many people in your same position, they want to know what happened. Why did it happen to their son or daughter? And we're going to do that within the first week. So you get ready to come over to the White House, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President. I got to say one more thing. I want to let America know, June 2017, President Trump and his wife had me and my wife bring 20 gold stars to the White House. Him and his wife stayed the whole time. They had food, drinks. They did a candle ceremony for us.
Boom. And did they play Ave Maria?
President Trump stood up every time, saluted the Gold Star parents.
Boom. That's what a great leader. You stood up and saluted. Two things. You stood up and saluted. Two things you did.
That was both a celebration, a remembrance. It had all emotion, right? They were happy, they were sad, they were devastated, but they remembered their beautiful boy, right?
Yes.
Their beautiful boy, and we're not going to forget.
You're beautiful. This is for your beautiful boy. What a weird thing to say. That's what Biden would say.
We're going to find out what happened. We're going to do that.
Why did you do it then when you were president, though, bro?
Within the first week, and you have my word. Okay?
Thank you, President. That means so much. It's not like you're like a fucking liar or anything.
Thank you.
Give him a hug. So this is so sick. Look at her. Give her a hug, too.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so it's
Thank you.
great.
Mr. President.
What a nice couple.
A nice couple. Keep on fighting, Trump.
Mary-
So this is so sick. So Trump's listening to Ave Maria, and he gets an idea. Remembers that guy was on stage, and the guy's son had died in, I guess, Iraq or whatever it was. Iraq. So he walks over there. He's like, I got an idea here. Points to the guy and says, hey, this is for your boy. For your boy. For your beautiful boy. For your beautiful boy. This is for your beautiful boy.
For your boy. Stand up. That's for their boy.
This what you played him Ave Maria, like like you could get like you could just download that on Apple Music or whatever frickin' some music service. They could play this all the time. That's not why you played this. People are passing out because it's too fucking hot. You don't know what else to do, so you say play music, but you're not going to bring a band out. You're playing a fucking opera song that nobody wants to hear. These are gritty Pennsylvania people. These aren't opera fans. And you're saying this is for your boy. They're just going along with this because they're doe-eyed Trump cult followers, but none of the people want this music. How does this help their boy? Like, you're dedicating this to their boy. What a wonderful gesture. Look, he does a fist bump. He's doing the dancing. The guy says, hey, whoa. Trump called me out again. Hey, I got mentioned. I got mentioned. Thanks. My boy's now gone to heaven. Like, he was just hanging around, but now you play Ave fucking Maria. He's going to heaven now. He's in heaven. What the hell? I hope they don't copyright this. It'll be a nightmare. It's because of the music. Okay, so let's put this on mute so we don't hear that shit. I'm gonna have to go back and mute this later, but it'll be worth it. They're just sitting there, right? If he says something, I'll unmute it. Look, he's just swaying back and forth to the music like a frickin' like a manatee, right? Just sitting there, this big fat oaf here, like just swaying back and forth. Swaying back and forth. Like, it's not a dance song, bro. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And looking at the guy over there, yes, for your son. For you. Your son, right there. Boom. Give him the thumbs up. Yeah, just, have this moment where it's going back to this. Like, this thing's already happened. Happened like a half hour ago, 25 minutes ago when he brought that guy on stage, right? And this is supposed to be a town hall. And they fucked it up by not having air conditioning. This is a complete screw up. How are you going to run the government? You can't run an event, right? Like, the people that are there are supposed to make sure that this is climate, that people are comfortable. This isn't something where you're like, oh, let's go there and sit in a sauna together. And they had one person pass out that looked like it was fake, but Trump did his thing, whether it was real or not. And they had another one pass out, and they had this other bit, right? Well, he just didn't talk at all because he already used up all his compassion on the first person. And maybe it wasn't expecting it. Now he doesn't know what to do. Like, he's dancing back and forth. He doesn't have a fucking solution here. Like, this is a solution. Play Ave fucking Maria. That doesn't make it better for 99% of the people. In fact, it makes it worse. Like, obnoxious music. And they're like, they want to hear you talk. Their song ends. Or it doesn't. He just keeps on going back and forth. He's saying stuff here.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Let's not do any more questions. Let's just listen to music. Let's make it into a music. Who the hell wants to hear questions, right?
Yeah, the people that came to see you and wanted to answer your questions.
Isn't that beautiful, though? It's such a beautiful...
So how's music better? Like, your solution is just so fucking goofy.
That in Butler, Pennsylvania, we had a moment of silence, and then we had the bells of Notre Dame go off, and then we had a great opera singer, Christopher, who was so incredible, and a great, great opera singer.
Yeah, that sucked. That was like, that didn't resonate with your people. Like, look at this person right here. She's like, oh my God, more of that shit.
That's Pavarotti. Pavarotti, I guess, is... I actually asked Christopher, I said, your voice is incredible. How does it compare to Pavarotti? No, sir. He was the maestro. He was the greatest of them all. And this man's voice, you all probably heard it. He was phenomenal. But he said, no, Pavarotti was the greatest. Maybe we'll play Time to Say Goodbye when we end.
Yes,
okay?
that sounds fantastic.
All right. Do we want to do that?
Absolutely.
We'll have a little... Instead of your normal, like, rock out of the place.
Yes.
And then you're going to say, time to go to bye. Then you're going to go vote. We're going to win the state of... You know, we win Pennsylvania. We win the whole thing.
Yes. That's right.
We're going to win. We're going to win. If we win Pennsylvania, we're going to win the whole thing, right? So it's going to...
Yep, that's true.
...really be something. We just had some numbers coming out of Virginia, which is great.
Numbers like 5, 7, 12.
We have numbers coming out about, we win this Commonwealth. We win the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We are in clover, and then we're going to fix our country, and we're going to fix it fast.
Right after I get to the bottom of this guy's kid dying.
Fix it fast.
His beautiful boy.
So get that song done.
Okay.
Get that song ready,
Got
and
that
when we
song
leave,
pulled
we're
up?
going to have a beautiful... You could just sit. And by the way, when we leave...
She's great at this, being like a sidekick.
You don't have to go so fast. You could sit and listen. We'll play a couple of songs. Some of you will be a little warm, but that's okay. It's not a bad thing.
Everyone will be, because it's hot in there.
And if you want, we're going to do that, but I think it would be beautiful. Don't you think? A little different.
I think it'd be amazing, sir.
Nice to have
It's amazing. Let's play a little music. It's not like they could go in their car and have air conditioning and listen to the same shit on the thing. But they have to sit there sweaty and hot, listen to this dope and this bimbo.
Isn't it a nice thing to have imagination? It's like when Kamala's teleprompter went out the other day.
Mm-hmm.
She was at 32 days. Did you see that?
I did.
She loses teleprompters, and you wouldn't know that she lost it. Me, I always lose. You know, if you're a politician, you can count on 5% of the time you lose a teleprompter, sometimes really badly, like in the middle of a sentence, and you're saying, ooh, that's a good, you got to have a good memory. If you don't have a good memory, you can't be much of a politician. But they go out.
They go out sometimes, and you got to remember the lines that they're feeding you. You're reciting, because you can't come up with your own shit and just talk normally like I do every day for hours here and produce something like worth listening to, right? Like, it's just not that hard, bro.
If you're outside, the wind blows them down. I had one in Ohio. We had 45-mile-an-hour winds, and I said, I'm going to lose these suckers. And within about the first 2 sentences, they were gone. They blew off the
I can't believe he even uses them at all. Like, it's just, it doesn't seem like it.
At that rally.
For Bernie Moreno, who's now doing very well, I understand,
He
the
is.
senator, so I think he's doing very well. But we'll listen to a couple of songs if you want, and that's okay with me. I like it.
It's they don't want to. They're going along with this. They want to hear your town hall.
We'll do that. We'll do those songs that we had mentioned, Justin. And if Justin doesn't get it right, he gets fired. Okay.
Well, what about the guy who was in charge of the place being air conditioned? Is he getting fired?
I have a quote that I like a lot by John Wayne. It says, life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid.
Yeah.
I think that perfectly explains Kamala Harris, right?
Boom. Yeah, boom. You nailed it, Christine Ohm. You're such a rocket
Right,
scientist.
sir? Now, our life has been hard because of her, but can you imagine what it's like to wake up as Kamala Harris? How hard life must be? My goodness.
Well, we have to beat her. Look.
Yeah, you know, she just gets on her knees, probably like you did.
She's not for this job. Everybody knows it. Look, we're running against not her. We're running against a very powerful and a very corrupt machine That's
machine.
what it is. She's just, and
Like
the
a
same thing with
beast.
Joe Biden. Joe doesn't know where the hell he is. You know, when you talk about Biden, he got 14 million votes. He won the primary, and we had a debate. His numbers were very bad, and it looked like we were going to win. You don't know what's going to happen, but it looked like he was down substantially. They went to see him, and they said, "You're getting out." He said, "I don't want to get out. I won. You're getting out." That was the overthrow of an American president. You could call it a coup, but I don't even call it that anymore because a lot of people say, "What the hell is a coup?"
Okay, so let's get to the end of this thing here, where they play the music. I think they're.
Give you the bottom line, though. Going to make America great again. America has never. We're a declining nation right now.
Oh,
Who's
here it
out
is.
there trying to get in? But you know what? I feel. Doesn't that feel nice?
Yes.
And you don't even have. There's nothing like outdoors. You don't even have the cost of an air conditioner if they have them in this beautiful factory. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song. Or
Okay,
we can
let's
take
do a couple of
two more
mine.
fast questions.
So, Justin, how about a couple of really beauties, and we'll sit down, relax.
Really
Let me
beauties.
just give you the bottom line, though. We win Pennsylvania. We win this great Commonwealth. We are going to win the whole ball game. It's such an important place, and we relate. And we are up in the polls fairly.
You already said that already, bro. You're losing it.
Fairly nicely, but it's really important. And we're going to turn this country around. It's the greatest movement in the history of our country, MAGA, Make America Great Again. When Biden would go on, he used to go on, say, "We will stop MAGA. We will stop," you know, remember with the purple background, the pink and purple? He looked
Yeah,
like,
we remember that was great.
like the devil, right? But she's worse than him, remember it. But they would say, "We're going to stop MAGA." They go, MAGA means Make America Great
again.
I mean,
I'm going to talk about this again in a moment, like how this can't happen, like just logically. But let's get to the dancing here.
what are you going to stop? And we are indeed going to make America great again. America has never, we're a declining nation right now. We're a nation in decline. And we're not going to be in decline for long, let me tell you.
Okay, so they don't play the music here, it looks like.
Music, please. Everyone.
So they cut it off, so I have to find the music. Let me talk about MAGA here first. Okay, so I found a video with him dancing and listening to music, and it's spectacular. We'll get into that in a moment. But the thing about Make America Great Again, like the image that Trump paints for all these people, like all these people who see what's changed in American culture. I mean, mostly it's cultural, and then I guess there's some other things with it. Can't exist in the present day form. Are you going to get rid of the internet? Because with the internet, you couldn't have America be the way it was. I don't know, was it 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever time frame it is. But there are things that have changed socially. I mean, technologically, it wouldn't work. Like, you couldn't have the internet. You couldn't have certain things the way they are. You couldn't have environmental consciousness. Like, we know things about the environment that's not, you know, global warming BS thing, but it's real and pollution type stuff that, I mean, all the things that used to be done, the racism that existed, the prejudice, all these things, right? The LGBTQ, whatever the acronyms, the letters are. Those people aren't going away, right? Things aren't going to go back. Like, those people aren't going all back to the closet, right? And so all the things that are out there, plus these kids have grown up in this era. These kids would not accept what Trump's vision is or what these people, you know, Trump doesn't care. Trump is lying to these people, right? Make America Great Again. All the things that Trump says about making America great again would have to stem from getting rid of all the technology we now have, going back to that time period where things were more innocent and more simple, because the internet has opened up a flow of information. And then you'd have to erase all these, you know, these social movements that have been anything but that. And you can't put all that back in the bottle, right? It's the same thing as deporting people to their old places that they lived that aren't going to accept them, that aren't wanting these people back, right? And how do you get them there? Like, what's your plan? Like, how do you take, I don't know, millions of people, as you said, 11 million people, 20 million people, and take them and forcefully return them to their countries of origins all across the globe? Trump has said there's people pouring in from every part of the world, you know, terrorists or whatever he's saying, drug dealers, these people. You know, these countries don't want these people back, right? And so what do you do then? You lock them up in prison? You have 20 million people in prison? Like, how do you get rid of these people? I mean, it's not doable. But that's a lot more doable than making America great again. You can't turn back time, right? You can't become young again. You can't turn back time to a different era. You can never go back again. It's a silly thing. Like, people lament how things are going. In every generation, they're like, oh, this progress. There are people who dislike the so-called progress for good reason, right? Can we go back to, what is it? What about the Native Americans? Was America great then? Was that the greatest period? Before white people got there, before Europeans got there? I mean, to them it is. Can they go back to that time? Or do they even want to go back to that time? If you went to a reservation, said that you could get rid of all the Europeans and you could go back to the old way you're living, but you'd have to get rid of all your cars and your electrical gadgets, all these things. Would that be okay? Would that be something you're willing to do, right? Would you be willing to go back and do all those things, right? The same thing with slavery. Are you willing to go back to pre-slavery conditions, right? And go away from America, go back and live wherever you came from. So you can't, once something's happened, you can't undo it like that. You can't return everything the way it was before. Something's broken, it's broken, right? Something is, has moved on from something else. There's new things in play here, right? People have this in relationships where one person does something, cheats or does something really bad to the other person. And, the relationship's never going to be the same. Whether they stay together, whether they get divorced, whatever happens. The relationship the way it was broken. It's never going to be as good as it was as before. Regardless of whatever kind of therapy or whatever stuff you have. It can never be that, where if somebody's done something to you, like, you can forgive them, you can even forget about it, but it's still there. Like, it's always there. You could evolve to where the relationship can evolve to something maybe in some ways better than the way it was, but it'll never go back to the way it was, right? Like, in very rare cases, you'd have something like that. Something bad happens, there's a bad period, and you can evolve. We could evolve into something better here in America, but we're not going to go back, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great for everybody. There's people who, that was their glory years. There's people who wish they could go back to high school. They peaked in high school, and they think about it all the time, going back in time and, living those years. They remember that time more fondly, and, in terms of everything, that was when they were at their best, and then things just went downhill for them. And you can't go back, right? So, like, the whole idea of Make America Great Again is stupid. And it's not stupid for the enemies of Trump. It's stupid for the followers and the people that buy into it. I mean, not just stupid, it's bad for them, right? You got to, be realistic, and he's not doing that. As a leader, you would say, okay, let's be realistic about what's going to happen here and accept that time is gone. And how do we fix this stuff how do we incorporate this new stuff that the liberals have brought in, and not have it be so batshit crazy the way that the liberals are pushing it, right? Because it's here. Like, that stuff's here. And they already got your kids. Like, we're the dying generation. Like, we're the people who are, we remember how, things were better in different ways and how degraded things have gotten. But these kids are growing up, that's all they know. They have no idea. So, for us, like, we're the people that are going to be wiped out, right? We're the Native Americans. We're the people who we're dying. We're dying out, and we're being replaced by these indoctrinated kids, right? And so if you want to preserve the good things from the past and just, you have to embrace the stuff that's happened in the sense of, you can't get rid of it. Like, you just can't wipe out all the liberals and you can't force them to believe something else, right? This is belief wars. And these kids have bought into this. And so, we all see it, right? We all see it. Like, so what are you going to do? Like, what's the solution? Come up with this realistic solution. When people lie to you and promise you something that can't happen, like making Mexico pay for the wall, and that's not nearly as bad as the Make America Great Again. It's an illusion. It's something that people are hanging on to so they can believe it. And they like believing it, and they like, reliving it, and they like the hopey feeling they get from it. Same thing with Obama. Hopey, changey guy, right? That's what Obama called himself. He didn't deliver because they never do. They're never going to deliver. They paint an illusion of what life's going to be, and you based on what you want to hear. And when people do that to you in your real life, when you have people who've done that to you, who willfully lie and create an illusion, whether it's something that they're pretending to be, romantically or in a business or they're promising you something that they're not going to deliver on, it sucks. When people break their promises and you realize they were lying to you and deceiving you to get something out of you, it sucks. Like, it's a horrible thing. And that's what Trump is doing to all these people. America can't be made great again. It's just stupid. But again, desperate times, people believe anything. All right, let's get into the whole dancey, song thing here. So this town hall ends up lasting 2 hours and 44 minutes. But he gets to the dancey part here. So he plays a lot of this opera stuff here. I mean, here's the end here.
For long, let me tell you, every country.
So he plays that song, whatever it is. I kind of like that song a little bit. It's one of the few opera songs I like. But then, is that James Brown? I don't know where they got permission to play all these songs, but he's just up there swaying back and forth, right? And they go through these various songs, and these people are like, I mean, it's like, what is going on? This guy's got a heart up there, this kid. I mean, it's just silly. Look at, she's swaying along, kind of swaying along. There's at one point where they're actually kind of dancing here. We'll move forward here a little bit. He says something here.
Do you want to do one? Do you want to do it? Let's go. Let's go. But it ends so beautifully. How about this? We'll play YMCA and we'll go home. But listen.
They play a whole bunch more songs. There's another 40 minutes to go. So they start enjoying this for some reason. Being with Trump and listening to random music, opera, the village people here.
Whatever you can do, get out there. We have to win. This is important. This is the most important election.
Yeah, we've heard that shit
in the
before.
history of.
Let's find the part here where he goes to the YMCA part. Boom. He's playing YMCA here, shaking people's hands. Goes out in the crowd here. He's talking to some people. Here he comes to do some dancing here. It's coming up. We're going to see some dancing. And he's just playing YMCA. He's playing opera and then, all this kind of stuff like that. Then he goes into YMCA. Again, there he goes. He's doing the whole thing where he has it's like he's got a hoodie. He's got a string. She's doing this thing. She's doing the YMCA thing. Look at her. Look, she's awake. They're the worst dancers. Look at him go. Look at this shit. This is really bad. This is like, look at him. He's mouthing the words like he does. Look at him go back and forth. I mean, it's like in an 8th grade dance. He dances like one of the Peanuts on Charlie Brown. Like dun 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 dun. Look. But listen to YMCA. She's pointing, do a little pointing, do a little clapping. So awkward and uncomfortable. And she's like, "Oh, you're so great, Mr. President." Do some clapping. It's not even clapping. Look, boom. Puts his hands out. Let's go back to that moment there where he did that. Well, let's listen to that there. Let's go back here. Right here. Here we go. Young man, this is not even YMCA. And then let's get ready to do it here. Let's wait till he does it. I don't want this to get copyrighted. And then, boom, here he goes. He's just so lame. And so they go through, there's other songs they play here as they go through this. So they do a couple of Village People songs. Like, this is, why would you be doing that? The social implications. Maybe I have been here before. So this is Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, which is not really a Christian song. And Leonard Cohen was born Jewish, but he did some kind of Zen. I like that song. I like Leonard Cohen, but it's not, it's not, and so just bizarre set of songs here, and they're swaying back and forth. And, what's the purpose of this? Like, how do you, how is this a solution to people being too hot in a hall? I mean, this is where people are more active. People are dancing. There's more energy here. And, you know, they could go listen to music in their cars. They're here to be with you. And she just said hallelujah. Hallelujah. And then they get into that song here. Nothing Compares to You, which, remember when she did that, where she burned the Pope? It was, you know, whatever her name is. She set fire to the picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live, and it was really controversial. And so that Irish woman, I'll think of her name later. So just a bizarre set of songs here. This one. And she's pointing to Trump, and he's pointing over here. Nothing compares to you. She's pointing at Trump. Look at him, Tim, that guy. Nothing compares to him. It's just so bizarre. Sinead O'Connor, and just weird. There's that song of the. So there's that song here. Maybe it's here. So they play different versions of Hallelujah. So here's the Richmond, north of Richmond. So they play that song, bunch of stuff, patriotic things. Just a weird mix of songs. And like, you know, these people send them home. Like, what are you doing here? They're being held hostage. These people in the middle. Here's a Secret Service guy right in front of them. Just bizarre stuff here. I mean, just weird. Like, just a bad choice, and just, you know, not acknowledging that you effed up the whole building that you picked. And he's waving goodbye here. Something, is that Guns N' Roses? I don't know. Just weird.
And come back to a different Jellicle life.
Is that from Cats? That's Cats. Jellicle. That's a song from Cats. He played a song from Cats and he's walking off here. Weird stuff. Like, that was just strange. Let's see what the end of this thing is. Him walking off. I mean, just so bizarre. Him, you see his tuft of hair here. I mean, just like, it's like mentally incompetent. Like, just, what's going on, bro? Are you okay? It's like, you're right. Like, oh, it's too hot. Let's just sit here and listen to random songs for, like he's a DJ or something, but he isn't even picking the songs themselves. And then they're all sitting there just like, it's so culty. So just, you know, I went for a walk and did some things, but the Cat song, they start talking about, it's the end of the movie. And I, you know, just because I watched the review on that pitch meeting thing, whatever. And, you know, the Cats movie. I saw the Cats play with a girlfriend, and it sucked. It was horrible. I was like, I don't know what I just saw, but I didn't like it, right? You know, there's dancing and singing, and, you know, musicals, they just suck. But anyways, at the end, there's all these cats that want to vie to be sacrificed and be reincarnated. And they pick this sort of one loser cat who's an absolute mess. And she ends up singing Memories, which is the highlight of the, you know, the sort of big finale. And when they made the movie, I forget the actress, but when she sings it, she was like snot pouring down her face. It's like she's crying. It's just really bad. But she's about to be sacrificed. So that, you know, some weird, you know, cat ritual. It's bizarre. And then, you know, the two Village People songs, the Village People were all openly gay, you know, singers. And it's some of the, you know, it's sort of like some of the gay anthem. And these guys are Republicans who are anti-LGBTQ. I mean, it's just weird. They're playing all these eclectic and, you know, going from opera to Village People and just Trump dancing. And, you know, it's a dud. You got a hot building. You're in a factory without air conditioning. It's a fail. And don't make it worse. Don't make it weird. Like, what is he doing here? Like, I don't know if this will cost him votes. And I don't know who cares about this thing, but it's really weird. I mean, this is weird. And it's just bad decision making. Like he's saying he's going to save America, and he can't even pull off one of these town halls without it being goofy. And he's always saying things, that just hurt himself and self-sabotaging. I mean, the guy just absolutely sucks. And so this is, in reference to all those people who are writing to me, well, at least he's not as dumb as Kamala, or he's the lesser of two evils. There's no solution here. I mean, it's just all distraction. It's 100% distraction. It's funny, like I enjoy mocking it, but it should be nothing more than that, right? Because it's clearly not aimed at making the world a better place. These people are they're not only like evil, but they're like broken down and distorted and just stupid and just primitive and just like all the incapable, incompetent. These are incompetent people. They're all incompetent. And so they do incompetent shit because they're incompetent people. And they're not capable of doing even the slightest. They can't even pull off the slightest type of, successful rallies. They're always fucking everything up, right? And so there's no reason for anybody to hope. It's just blind faith and blind hope. I mean, it should be obvious to everyone. Only spirituality will save this world. It's paramount, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.